Hi everybody and welcome to this video in advance of the Legends 9-hole cup. Behind me you can see the Southern Pines course as we used to know it, but we do have a modifier on this tournament and it is new pin locations. So we're going to take a look at each hole in turn, overview on one side of the screen, and then pictures and some video examples of the new pin positions on the right hand side as well. I'll give you my thoughts and some potential approaches and shots based on the new pin locations and my opinions, whether I think it's going to be easier, tougher or about the same. Don't forget to join us on Facebook, BK Golf Clash Facebook group, and let me know what you think of the pin locations in the comments section down below on this video. Finally, please hit thumbs up and make sure you are a subscriber to the channel as well. Totally free to do so. Good luck in the Legends 9-hole cup. Let's get started with hole number 1. We begin as always with hole number 1, par 4. There's the new pin position on the right hand side of the screen, and there's a black cross indicating approximately where the old one was. And before this hole even loaded, I was quite confident it was going to be tucked away on the right hand side. Now we're going to have a look at some potential shot views here. If you do play out to the left, that you can see on the overview, this is the view that you are going to have. And obviously if we don't have the wind to go right side, left side is the play, but it's going to be very, very difficult to drop this from the left. The bunkers are even more in play there, and obviously it is a wood club shot down there really. If you're going right side and you can get the ball down enough, then you've got chances there without worrying about the bunkers, either with long iron or short iron. So slightly easier from the right hand side, but a little bit trickier from the left. Hole number 2, and this one has been moved to the right and slightly further away from the rough. Obviously it was never really going to be on the left hand side here because we do want the bunker in play. Just makes the hole a lot more interesting. So again, usual routes apply. You can bounce up from the left and then roll down with the slope there, but it is going to be tough to drop that one. The rough bump is going to be the way forward, and we're going to have a little look here. Replays here taken from second tee, so in my instance here it is going to be the quarterback, but you'll see just from adding some backspin here, 3 to 3.5 bars of backspin, it's a very nice landing spot here. So for those brave enough to go with the rough bump, and there's plenty of rough to aim at, a good consistent landing spot, so decent chance on this path. Hole number 3, this par 5's definitely not got any easier. There's the new pin. You can see it's over to the left hand side of the green. Now if you are going to play left side on this hole, and you can see the overview there as well, that doesn't make it really that difficult. But if we do go down the big patch of fairway to the right, usually we would play right side of the bunker. Now that's going to leave us with a trickier shot, so there's that to think about as well. The green does slope. Now I've just had a little look here and we have some video. Here I'm using the end bringer. It's probably going to be the thorn though. There's a couple of little tricky spots there, a couple of glitchy moments, so we are going to have a think about that slope if we are going for the eagle with short iron from the left hand side. But a very, very tricky par 5 here. We've got to fight to get the eagle. Hole number 4, very good chance for an eagle here. I think this may be actually slightly easier than before, purely because there's less distance from the rough if you are going to play the rough bump. There's where the old one was, where the black cross is. You can see the new one to the left and slightly nearer the tee. Obviously you've got a choice of 2 routes here, playing left or right side. It is going to be the rough bump on the left, and that shot is definitely still on, and still a decent attempt with a short iron if you are going to go full blast and aggressive down the right hand side. Let's have a little look at replay here. I did attempt the rough bump here with the Grizzly. Obviously you've got to watch that you're not in between clubs here, but there doesn't seem to be too many glitchy spots, if any at all, here with a little bit of left spin and a little bit of top spin. I think this is going to be a very, very good chance for an eagle. Obviously for those that are comfortable going with the rough bump, that shot is definitely still on, and you've got, like I said, a little bit less distance to cover. So very good chance even if you're going to play left or if you're going to play right. Very, very good chance of a drop here. Bounces nicely, just a little tweak needed to the adjustment, but we're coming in very close. hole 5, and you can see the old pin quite clearly on the overview and the new one on the right. Pin has been moved further up the green, but also dramatically to the right. Obviously, if you don't want to play rough bump, you can bounce from the right hand side. The left hand side bounce over is pretty much going to be written off in terms of attacking the pin, but I do think the rough bump still is a very good chance here. We're going to have a little look here at the footage I've got from the game this morning, and there is a little funnel which I think we can catch. Again, this is from second tee, so it's going to be the quarterback, but just mixing around with a bit of spin there, and you can see there is a spot where I will be able to move my target, a decent patch of rough to aim at, and I think we can catch that slope on the right of the pin, should bring it in very nicely. So pretty good chance here, to be honest. Maybe slightly tougher than where it was before, because you had that slope at the back of the green. You could bounce up and back down, but I think here the funnel from the right is going to be the way to go. Hole number 6, there's a few ways to go on this one. There's the new pin location, a little bit further back, but more in the centre of the green. And this is going to affect definitely one of the possible approaches. Of course, you can play out to the left and go with a distance wood club from the left-hand side of the overview around to the green. If you're going to go the other route, either with the blast shot or the slice, then I'm going to put some pictures up of the view that you may have. So this would be what would be the equivalent of the long iron shot between the trees. That one is threatening the right trees a little bit more, and obviously you've got a lot more distance to cover from the rough bump. Load of topspin needed there. I didn't sadly pack the Goliath when I was having a look, so I'm not even sure if max topspin is going to reach. If you do find out, let me know in the comments section down below. But more of a narrow window there in my opinion. If you're going full blast and further down that fairway up the right hand corner of the overview, then you're going to have still a very, very clear shot with the short iron for an albatross. So if we can play aggressively on this one, I think that's the shot that I would like to go with, because there's a brilliant chance of dropping that one with a great long drive and a good short iron shot to the pin. Hole number 7. On the face of it, at first glance, you might think this is easier because it's further away from the bunker on the left, but I actually think this one is a little bit trickier now to drop, purely because where the pin stands on the slope of the green, which on the picture there goes from right to left. So we've got two little video clips here. Long iron approach from the left hand side of the overview. We would usually be playing into the slope here. Nice funnel down to where the pin used to be. Going to be a little bit trickier here. There's less room for error, so we can either go direct, which is what I looked at there at the end, or from the right. Now, playing the right hand side of the overview here onto those fairway islands, this was much easier when the pin was further away, but just look here, I apply almost endless combinations of spin, but still, because that pin is very near the top of the slope, the ball guide is long here. I didn't end up playing this shot, I just decided to time out to get some alternate looks. But for me, having a look at this, I'm probably going to be tempted to play left side rather than right. Hole number 8. I think this is a little devious pin placement here. May not look too bad, but the problem with this one is this hole is difficult anyway in terms of a clear shot to the green due to all of the bunkers and the rough. Now I've had a little look here in the course of one timer on the shot clock to investigate the possible routes, and this is going to be tricky because we've got to flirt with the sand a lot more when the pin is not in the top right corner of the green as it used to be. Having a look at sniper bounce over from left and right, also the quarterback from the right, this of course again from second tee, but then I also have a look at bouncing directly on the green, which is something we have done with a higher level Thor's hammer. I don't have that on this account, so I've used the rocket to demonstrate the max backspin shot. That might be worth a go, but this is going to be very wind angle dependent, and again, this par 3 has always been tough, and I think it's got a little bit tougher with this new pin position. And finally, on to hole number 9, the other really long and tricky par 5. very, very tough, especially if we do have headwind angle on this one. There's the new pin location. Further to the right, more in the middle of the green, and here is approximately where the old one used to be. The thing here is it does take out that secondary bounce rough bump that people like to play, that you can see just below that cross. We used to do second bounce in the rough and roll out, and you might have been able to drop it with that if you had a good adjustment, or if you were particularly fortunate. This is a very tough hole. Now when you do make your drive, if you're playing over the sand on the left, this is the type of shot you're going to be left with. It is a little bit clearer, to be honest, so for those that just wanted a nice clear shot to the green and the flag area without worrying about getting the rough into play on the left, then this is going to be a little bit easier. But I do think this is still going to be a very, very tough drop now that that little rough bump has gone from the left, which you did used to take a little bit of the second bounce wind effect out of the way. So this one's still going to be tricky, par 5 especially. Like I said, if we do get headwind, there's an awful lot of distance to cover.